Hello and welcome to Circle of Love. I'm Cynthia Gohan, and today we're going to be working on an activity that is based on neurographic art. Sometimes it's referred to as neurographic, and there are also slight versions of this of art form that exist. And so if you just Google neurographic art, you'll find many examples. Today, I'm going to show you an example that I found online that I just find really inspiring, and most importantly, because of all of these delicate, extra intricate lines, as well as the variety of color. And so today I'm going to kind of model my activity or my project on this image. And however, it can take any form or shape that you prefer. Okay. As always, I encourage you to interpret this however you like and change anything that you want to make it work better for you. So let me show you what supplies I have, and that way you can get ready. Okay. All right, I have today a very simple blank sheet of paper. It actually is watercolor paper, simply because I am going to be using watercolors for my project today. And I also have a thin black permanent marker. And then, of course, I have my brushes and my water for my watercolor. You can also use colored pencils for this activity. That works really well also. What we do to begin, I want to just kind of say a couple more things about neurographic art. This art form was originally begun in order to use it as a bit of a meditative practice. It absolutely functions as a meditative practice, and you can also apply additional meaning or additional functions with it. And I'll talk more about that as I go. For starters today, I'm going to begin, and the idea of neurographic art is to begin with very loose and free flowing lines. Those lines can take any shape and go in any direction that you choose. Right now, I do just feel like doing circles. My hand just really does feel like going in that direction. So I'm going with that inclination right now. And I'm also just kind of trying a few different sizes of these circles. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about really just kind of letting loose, applying non-judgment, where I'm not thinking about if my circles are the shape that I want them to be. I'm not thinking about, how they fit together. I'm really just letting my hand just kind of go in a circular motion and enjoying the feel of that and focusing on that. So what I have established is a few separate shapes, and what we're going to do next is go from one edge of the page to the other edge of the page, and then across again, and keep moving that way over and over again. You can do this by staying in the same area and repeating your lines over and over again, or move to other areas. And since I said earlier, I'm going to be modeling my personal project on the image that I shared, I am kind of intentionally going back and forth with my lines in the same area, letting them slightly overlap, developing almost like a cluster of repeating lines in that same area, and then moving over towards a different area. And also, for neurographic art, it works really well or it is most effective when you can keep your line moving continuously. That's part of the meditative process, is really just kind of letting this one continuous line keep flowing and moving in different directions. Part of this, the psychology involved here also includes changing directions, being more fluid, helping your mind be able to change directions without challenge per se. So increasing the fluidity of your line, of your hand movement and of your mind. Sometimes we do get stuck in only one certain pattern with our mind that we're used to, and it becomes very familiar and it becomes more of a habit. And sometimes it doesn't work best for us. Sometimes we do need something different, and that requires also different directions sometimes. So intentionally changing your direction, allowing yourself to change direction also on your page is a great practice. And I'm not worrying right now if my lines are going in the right direction. There actually is no right direction established. And for that reason, it is free. My hand is free to move anywhere it feels inspired to move. All of these are psychological concepts that are embedded here in this neurographic art form and practice. And so the idea isn't to really end up with any particular image, honestly, or any type of creation or, particular style of creation. It's more designed to really just be a physical practice of the mind, actually. And allow you to take a moment to just kind of dive deeper into your movements, into your experience, and make this a mindfulness opportunity for yourself. So I've kind of gone as much as my hand felt like going across my page in different directions. And what I have here is now a series of intersecting lines. So one of the signifying traits of neurographic art is that at every intersection, there is an opportunity for reinforcing that intersection by going in and filling in like this and rounding off areas where there is a corner. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that, and maybe not in every single spot. You could, and there is certainly a very meditative, there we go, long meditative opportunity here if you are someone like me who has a whole bunch of intersections. Or you could go around and simply choose ones that are more significant, that maybe you could establish as meaningful to you in some particular way. If I use this page in a more symbolic way, I could see these different circles maybe as different areas of my life or different thoughts, ongoing thoughts in my mind. It could even possibly be something related to events that are currently happening in my life. And when I go in to each of these different intersections and spend some time reinforcing them, what I'm doing is also taking a moment to meditate on or think about in different ways the different aspects of the different events going on in my life. This is not an opportunity necessarily to harp on or to repeat, maybe say negative thoughts that I've had, if I have had any, about these events. It's really designed to be an opportunity to look at your experiences from different angles. In this way, we can hopefully also find new thoughts, develop new thoughts, develop new perspectives, develop possibly even new experiences about the same event. Okay, and so allowing yourself to keep changing directions. As you can see, I'm turning my page, and I'm just right now, actually, I'm randomly choosing neurographic art is a great way to really just be very free with it, not have to put a ton of thought into it, or decision making. It's not designed to be about decision making. It's really more about just being in the moment and going with the flow. So right now I'm allowing myself to just keep turning the pages, or turning this page, I should say, and just looking for anywhere my eye catches. Again, not making decisions about it. If you're looking for something that's more stylized, or looking for a particular image or style, or technique, then you might be more strategic about where you go and reinforce your intersections. But if you are using this activity truly as a meditative practice, then really you're just letting yourself be spontaneous and free, and allowing your hand to move anywhere it feels like going next. So you're really allowing your hand to do the directing rather than your mind doing any directing. When your hand gets to do the directing, it frees your mind up. And it helps you practice just changing directions or going with the flow. So I have, as you can see, established a few different reinforcements here in some of these different connections or these different intersections. I could continue, and you're absolutely, welcome to continue. If you're watching this by video, you could pause right now and take more time to work on some more of these intersections. And for those who practice neurographic art regularly, that is the traditional next step, is to continue reinforcing these intersections. What I'd like to do for this video right now is go ahead and demonstrate how I apply watercolor in some of these different sections, just to kind of create different, again, options for my mind, and not worrying about how it looks, not worrying about if it is correct, not worrying about, whether I like it or not. That's often something that we're constantly worrying about. So this is an opportunity to be free of that, to be free of those restrictions. And so speaking of restrictions, we're going to practice that today, being free of restrictions in this project, by allowing yourself to choose different colors for different little sections that you create or have created, okay, with your lines. So here you can see I'm just determining as I go different areas that have, or should I say spaces here, that have been defined already for me. Okay, I could do that. Or I could ignore the spaces and just work completely inside an entire shape. I could do that too. Okay, and when I'm using watercolor, I like using watercolor for this activity because I also can apply lots of water to the watercolor and make it very transparent and flowing like this. Okay, that feels good to be able to just to use these very broad strokes freely like that. Or I could apply less water to the watercolor, really pick up a more opaque, a thicker kind of a consistency of my watercolor, and I could come in and I could apply some of this more opaque version of the same color to different sections or different aspects of the sections like this. There are really so many ways you could go about filling this in with color if you're using color. If you're using colored pencils to apply the color, it's really the same concept. You could either also press really hard with your colored pencil in order to create a darker, or should I say more opaque effect, or you could color very lightly and create a more transparent effect as well. So right now I'm also just, I'm not putting any thought into the colors that I'm choosing. You could put some thought into the colors you choose if you want to, but I'm really truly allowing my brush now to be completely free of restrictions, and that includes the colors that I use. So quite honestly, these are not colors I would normally choose for my projects, or these are not colors that I would combine together in my projects. And so I like the idea that I'm not worrying about if these are colors that I like, if they're colors that go together. In neurographic art, you allow yourself to not have to choose, to not have to judge, to not have to decide really either. So you can see here, I'm continuing applying color in just some of these spaces. I just feel like going into just some of these sections. That's just how my hand is feeling right now. And I'm just kind of letting it go with that flow. I'm allowing my hand to decide. Okay, and I'm filling in some spaces. You could continue this process until you have filled in all of the spaces, or you could leave it just partially filled in. There really is no wrong way or right way to do this. It is simply a practice of the mind, and most importantly, allowing the mind to be free of those restrictions that we often place in the mind or we place on ourselves. Remember, restrictions that tell us that, or rules that tell us that, you know, things have to be a certain way, or that there are certain things that we just can't do. When we have too many of those types of restrictions, we've applied too many of those types of restrictions on ourselves, we can start to develop fears. We can start to develop worries. We can really limit ourselves in many ways that way. And so when someone looks at this, someone else looks at my page, they might think to themselves, well, those colors, I'm not sure about those colors, or how did you choose those colors? Or, what do those colors mean to you? They could have meaning. I could apply meaning later, but right now it's really just a practice. It's just a practice in filling in not worrying, in being free, in being non-judgmental. There we go. And continuing that process. Okay. I'm going to stop right here with my video. I also wanted to let you know that even after you've applied your color, you still can go back as long as your paint has dried, or if you were using the colored pencils, that's already dry, so you don't have to worry about that. You can even after that still go back and do some more reinforcing if you like of your intersections. Okay. That's that's as far again as I'm going to go with my video right now. And I encourage you to keep going and take time to develop your page or develop your neurographic creation as far as you like. It's something that you also can, and often people who use this as a practice of the mind do maybe set it aside for a while and then come back to it, at another time. So For now, I hope that if you've never tried neurographic art before, that you've had a great chance to try it out. And again, maybe even use this as a practice of the mind. If you're someone who's feeling like you really have been experiencing worry or fear or restrictions in your life, maybe in your mind, if you want to kind of break free of those limits, of those barriers, of those rules, of those habits, this is, again, a really great practice to just gain new perspective, to allow yourself to go in new and different directions that you might not have gone before. And it's a very safe way to do that, a very risk-free way to do that on paper. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today for Circle of Love. I really appreciate your participation. And if you have completed this activity, I always love seeing your work. So please email me at cynthia@heartarthealing.com. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you again next time, and take good care. Much love to you.